so happy to be here. Welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Kesha, and I'm here to answer your questions. What's up, Doc? Ask Dr. Kesha. What do you want to ask me? I know this is abrupt. I know I'm rude. I know I'm disrupting what you got going on, and that's okay. If you are watching, then it's meant for you to watch. Tune in. I won't hold you long. I promise. I'm going to get right to it. So, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dating and love, I'm your girl. I am a certified life coach. I call myself a soul coach. All right. So I deal not only with personal development, business relationships and business aspects, but also with relationships, dating, and that sort of thing. So I'm in that dating relationship space. I also do premarital counseling as well as postmarital counseling, mental health related counseling, as well as religious counseling. So I'm here for you as a certified life coach, a certified counselor. And there are other things to my background, by the way. Just go check out the website, go to Impacting Mindsets Global, go check it out, and go check out the services that I do offer. And I would love to be of some assistance to you. All right. So, what is our featured question for today? Let's talk about it. Well, here's the question. The question is, Dr. Keisha, how long is too long for an engagement or a non committed relationship? Dr. Keisha, how long is too long? I've been in this relationship for eons. I've been in this relationship for 10 years. I've been in this relationship for 5 years. I've been in this relationship for 9 years. We just did a review today and we uploaded it for the Braxtons, right? And Tawanda has been in a relationship for, I believe she said, 9 years. To my understanding, they are not married. And I don't know, I'm assuming it's a live-in situation as well. Now, I know that the majority of my audience is faith-based. So I answer the questions through a faith-based lens, all right? As well as some clinical things. We'll add that because it just has to make sense. Now, the first thing that I would ask when responding to that question, the question of how long is too long for an engagement or a non committed relationship, how long is too long? All of that really depends on you and it depends on the type of relationship that you want to have with this person. Because not everyone that dates wants to be married. Not everyone that dates wants to be in a committed relationship, or they don't want to be in one relationship, they want to be in many relationships, and or they want to play the field. And you know what, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It isn't. It's not bad to not want to be committed, and it's not bad to want to be committed. You just have to find somebody that is on the same page. That's the problem. I think sometimes we just have unrealistic expectations. We assume that if we're dating a person that they're on the same page with us, and they may not be. So it's about asking the right questions. It's about being honest and forthcoming about whatever your relationship goals are, and to be proud and loud about it. I don't think you should be passive about it. I don't think you need to be trying to hide it and conceal it, passive aggressive about it. You know what I mean? You should be open and honest about it, whether they're asking you or you're bringing it up on your own. I feel like you should be assertive when it comes to the things that you want, especially out of a relationship. I really do believe that for most faith based people, we believe the Lord is navigating our ship, but you have to also understand that you do have a say so. You have a will to exercise that is God given and it's a gift. So you should exercise that will. And so God has placed certain desires within you that He has given. And so therefore, it's not there by happenstance, it's there with intention. So those of you that want to be married, those of you that want to be in a committed relationship, that's not a bad thing. And if you are attracting people that don't want the same thing, then there's got to be a reason for that type of connection, meaning the attraction. What is it that that situation or that person, what is it that they're supposed to teach you? You know what I mean? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. I want commitment. The people that I seem to be drawing to me don't want a commitment. Then you have to ask yourself, well, what is the lesson in this? What am I supposed to learn by these people that are constantly coming into my life that is unwilling to commit, or they don't have the desire to commit? Why? Some lessons may be God just wants you to maybe peep game. What does that mean? He wants you to be acquainted with the type of males or females that are out there when it comes to their character, when it comes to integrity, when it comes to their personality. Maybe you're compiling a mental list of the do's and the don'ts, of the things that you're willing to deal with and the things that you're not willing to deal with, the things that you like, the things that you dislike, the things that you desire, right? But that's a good fit for you, and the things that are not a good fit for you. Through these experiences, these are the things you should be gleaning from those experiences, and or you're not managing the dating space properly. You're not stewarding the dating space properly because maybe you're too aggressive in your approach. Maybe you're too quick to jump to you know, that conversation when it's really about getting your feet wet, experiencing what you're supposed to experience so that you can be a better you, so that you can figure out exactly what it is that you are about and what you're growing to be, so that and it's almost like a testing phase. You're not quite ready for the I do. Maybe you're not ready for the commitment per se right now. Maybe you're in transition and these people are coming so that they can teach you a lesson or two about you, and maybe about maybe some of the type of person you would like to settle down with for the long term. Maybe that's the lesson. And so you really have to ask yourself that question. So let's say you happen to be in a relationship with someone. It's a non-committed relationship, but yet a relationship, and or maybe you are engaged, right? You went as far as the proposal, you have a ring, and or you've given a ring, and now you're just kind of trying to figure out when is the best time, if you're trying to figure that out at all. There are some people that stall. They may have as far as the proposal, and maybe they don't have any intention on making a full commitment or following through. Maybe something has come up that has gotten in the way. Maybe they realized or came into the realization that you're not the one for them, and they don't know how to get out of the relationship. They don't know how to end the relationship. They don't want to hurt you. So it could be a whole lot of reasons as to why you're in limbo, or as to why your engagement period has been stretched, as to why you're in a non-committed relationship when you want the commitment and that's not happening for you. So there could be many, many reasons, and all of it's niched, and it depends on the people and the situations and the circumstances. So unfortunately, there's no one size fits all answer to the question of how long is too long for an engagement. But I will say that if the intentions were expressed and the two were on the same page with marriage being the goal, and you had put into place or had conversations about time frame, and you've reached that point where it was time for you to pivot into a committed relationship and say I do, and for whatever the reason it hasn't happened, then you both need to sit down and have that conversation as to why. You know what I mean? Why haven't we followed through? Why haven't we set a date? Or why do we keep moving the date? There's obviously some underlying issue there. So this is me. I think assertive communication is the best type of communication to have. It's no point of being passive about it, or passive aggressive or aggressive. Just simply say, hey, you know what? Ask, hey, listen, I would love to talk to you. It's so important. I just have something on my heart. I just really want to share with you. And just try to create an atmosphere that is safe for you to be honest and forthcoming about your thoughts concerning the matter. Once you've created an atmosphere that is non threatening, and also get your emotions out of the way, just have an intellectual, rational conversation. I think sometimes it's hard to talk to certain people, even certain people that we love. It's because it gets to that emotional space, and it's hard to navigate when you're in that emotional space when you're trying to have a serious conversation. Because once you get your feelings involved, you can jump to conclusions. You're really being motivated by the ebbs and flows of your emotions. And it's hard to think rationally. And it's hard to really make good decisions when you're allowing your emotions to lead and guide you in a conversation. You know what I mean? And so you have to make sure that you have your emotions in check and that you're able to have a conversation, a meeting of the minds, if you will, to determine exactly what is going on. Because again, it's about solving problems, it's about getting to the bottom of it, and it's about being open and honest about what we are feeling and or what we desire ultimately when it comes to the relationship. So after you've sat them down, after you've kind of expressed your thoughts with regards to what's going on with the relationship and asking key questions like, do you want to be married? If the answer is yes, then ask them another question. Okay, do you want to be married to me? Now, it is possible that even after an engagement, that a person may have cold feet and or they may have changed their mind. That is entirely possible. And I have to say this, people come into our life for a reason, and I know this sounds cliche, a season and or a lifetime. And it is possible that we've jumped the gun and the person that we're engaged with and or in a non-committed relationship was just only supposed to be in our life for a season or a particular reason, but not necessarily for a lifetime. But we decided we're going to take the lifetime route because that's what we wanted, but maybe that's not what the person wanted, or initially they wanted it, but during the course of time they've seen some things, they experienced some things that have changed their mind, and or they've grown in a way where they're a different person and they see that you two can't necessarily coexist the way that you currently are. Maybe in the back in the day when you started out, you seem to be on the same page, your purposes seem to align, your core values seem to be in alignment. But maybe at this stage of life, being that you're at this place because you have dated or and or was engaged for quite some time, they're starting to see that I don't really see myself being with this person for the rest of my life. And or it is a possibility that they might have met someone that was more suitable and or they're attracted to someone else altogether. So that could be the thing. And it's sad, but it happens. It happens. It is entirely possible to be dating someone for a very long time and then come to the conclusion, I don't think this person is my person, or this is someone that I want to be with for the long haul. That there was a purpose for the relationship, but it no longer serves its purpose. It's sad, it's unfortunate. One would say it may be a complete waste of time and money because generally when you do get engaged, you begin to think about the planning of the wedding and you might have put money to the side and or have started buying some things. But what I will say is that you're still not married. And so, though it may be a shock, though it may be painful to hear that truth when your heart was set on being with this person and experiencing life with them, if they're not on the same page with you, trust me when I say, they are doing you a favor, because it's better that it ends now before you say I do. Start a family, continue to build a family, add to the family that you may already have, because most people that have been in a relationship for a long span of time, they might have started producing offspring. All right, so before all the offspring come or you continue to add to the family, and you come into the realization, oh, I don't think I made a right good decision, I need to come out of this relationship, I'm no longer happy, or whatever the case may be. It's better to end it before you get in a marriage, because it gets really complicated because of all the intermingling. And when it comes to the business aspect of marriage, it becomes very difficult to dissolve because there is a process for dissolving a marriage or for getting a divorce. You have to involve the courts. It's a lot. You have to split assets, children. You have to decide who's going to have custody, joint custody, visitation, child support, and etc. If you've been together for an extremely long time, if you were married, then a spousal support may be on the table and other things. You are hit economically like you've never been hit before. There's a lot of things that are involved in terms of splitting of assets, a lot of obviously pain because you've now come together, you've merged your lives together, and now you have to do the opposite, which is to dissolve it or to come apart when you were literally being melted together. So that within itself is difficult. It's like mourning a death. So I would say rather than go through a divorce later, it is much better to break up and not get married if it's not for you. Or if one of you are having cold feet and feel like that this is not something that you should do. And I think you should listen to whatever is guiding you in that moment. It could be God speaking to you and saying, this is not something that I want from you. I have something better. And again, that works both ways. When God says that he has something better, he doesn't mean that that person is not a good person. It just simply means that God had something else in mind for you, and God also has something in mind for that person that would be better in terms of alignment. Not that you're not a good person, not it's not a direct attack to the person or a reflection to who you are. It just means that that person is not completely in alignment with God's will and purpose for your life. So when God says that, it's no slight to that person. He just means that I got somebody that would be better suitable for you, and you're pretty much settling right now, and basically you're taking somebody else's companion when that's not the person that I've had in mind for you. And trust me, you don't want somebody, I don't care how long you've been dating them and in a relationship and or engaged, you don't want someone that is not supposed to be with you. You don't want that headache. You don't want that burden. You don't want that challenge. You don't want it. So it's better that the relationship ends. Number one, we have to learn to do our due diligence before we get to this place. I would not be dating for, I wouldn't personally be dating someone that we've had conversations about where we're going, what we desire to arrive to in terms of relationships. We're marriage minded. Okay. We're both on the same page. From the beginning, we've expressed that. Okay, well, what is your turnaround? What would you, and they said maybe 2 to 3 years, you were on the same page. Then you started dating and things began to change. No. If a person does not keep their word, that is an integrity issue. That's a character issue. And so you have to be, because they could be having cold feet and it has nothing to do with them not being your purpose partner. They could just be having cold feet. They could just have commitment problems, which is connected to maybe their parental story. Maybe they were products of divorce. Maybe their parents separated or got divorced, while they were relatively young, or maybe they're during their teenage years. And maybe they have a fear of that, a natural fear, but maybe it's unnatural, where they get anxieties when they think about marriage. Maybe they need to go to counseling. So, there's various reasons as to why you may be in an engagement period or cycle for too long, and or you may be in a non-committed relationship for too long. You have to do your due diligence. What is too long? I say anything beyond 2 years. I think 2 years is too long to be in a non-committed relationship when you essentially expressed what your goals were, and that person confessed or admitted that basically they have the same goals, or they expressed what their goals were, and you both discovered that you're in alignment with what you would like to see when it comes to goal setting or the future, and you decide to start dating or get involved with your goal in mind, working towards your goal, and this person saying yes, 2 years or what have you, and then they've got the clearance, they prayed about it, and maybe the engagement has happened, but yet no marriage, I would have an issue with that. I would definitely have a conversation with that after whatever the period that you both agreed upon, that you've expressed in terms of the time frame. And I would have a serious conversation. Do I believe in ultimatums? I think you do need to put your foot down. They have to make a decision because at a certain point, I do think it's too long, especially when you come into the relationship saying that you want to be married and you want to be married about a certain around about a certain time frame, and you guys are on the same page with that, and all of a sudden they're having cold feet. I think you do need to have an honest conversation. And out of that conversation, if fears are expressed and what have you, then you need to support them while they go through counseling, because it's better that they resolve some of those issues or some of the trauma that they've experienced from their past rather than move forward in the relationship than have unnecessary difficulties in the relationship because of unresolved issues. So it's good that it's, cold feet, it's coming up before the marriage so that you can begin to deal with some of those things before you get into the marriage. That is the ideal thing to do. But oftentimes, what people do is they're pressured into doing something they don't want to do, and then they begin to resent the person for the pressure. So that's not wise. Definitely not wise. So the question is, how long is it too long for an engagement? I say a year or two, depending on the circumstances. There's all types of circumstances, you name it. It could be two young people that are in college and their goal is to try to finish school and to get a job before they get married. And I think that that's an honorable thing to do because here's the thing: when you're married, oftentimes you're a lot more lax when it comes to, you know, um, using protection and things of that nature. Most people don't want to. And so there is a strong possibility you may start a family. If you both are young and you're in school and you have, some student debt or whatever, or maybe you're paying out of pocket and you're working, adding an additional life to care for at that stage of life is going to make things a little bit more challenging. You can still do it. It is entirely possible, but it's just going to make it a little bit more difficult in terms of dividing your time. And then also you got to make sure that, the child has a safe place to live and food and all the things. And that requires income, it requires resources. And if you're a college student, in most situations, unless you're coming from a well-off family, you have a difficult time taking care of yourself, let alone a wife or being having a husband and a child. So you have to think realistically. You have to really begin to think about, where you are and all the things, right? Whether it's education, whether it's job, and whatever the goals are, you know, um, that could be a part of the problem. So again, one would think, okay, that makes sense. You're both in college, you're both working towards your goals. You guys have some things you would like to reach that is practical before you say I do. Makes sense to me. I would not be mad at that. But as a person that does counseling in this space, you also have to be honest about some of the realities, when it comes to that sort of thing. So if you're from the faith-based perspective, you know that fornication is a no-no, right? And so being in a loving relationship, again, it just increases the desire to want to get closer. It's just a natural thing. And so, yes, so the two people that are saying, hey, we want to prioritize the relationship, we want to kind of put it on pause for now, we want to focus on completing our goals before we say I do, that also includes having self control. Because what's interesting to me is that people can not have self control, but yet have enough self control to work towards their goals. Does that make sense? And so, again, you can still get married. That's what I would say, especially if you have self control issues. At least that way, you love each other, you checked off all the boxes, you know that you're for each other, and it's a good fit. You have the same morals, same values, same journey. You can walk together, you're in agreement. Cool. Then it's okay to get married. It's okay. And you can still work towards your goals. You just have to make grown up decisions when it comes to how to, deal with that aspect. If you don't want to have children right now, then you have to be grown up about it and understand the biological parts of each other and figure that out so that you don't have no oops and have additional stress and anxiety that you bring on yourself because of a lack of control. It's really that simple. A lot of people just need to be mature. So whatever decision that you make, you just have to make sure that you make it make sense. If we're deciding to get married even at an early age, what is the game plan? I'm a firm believer that everyone needs to have one. You have to have a vision, you have to work with a goal in mind as a collective as well as individually speaking. So those things need to be communicated while in the dating phase. Those things need to be confirmed while in the dating phase. And then when you're ready for engagement, then hopefully a lot of those boxes will be checked off in terms of the goals that you wanted to achieve before you got to the place of being ready for an engagement. And then after that, there has to be some boxes that have to be checked off, preparing yourself for marriage. So if you're working with a goal in mind, I think personally that 2 years is sufficient, unless there is some unusual circumstance surrounding the relationship where maybe you're dating somebody from a different country and now you have a lot of legal things to contend with and a lot of processes and procedures and things of that nature. Then again, now you have other things, other forces that are in the way, that's standing in the way of you finally getting the commitment that you want and desire. So again, depending on the circumstances, that's one of those types of questions where one question isn't sufficient. But let's say, okay, it's not an international issue. There's no laws that we have to contend with. This person is free and clear, meaning that they're not waiting on a divorce. They're not separated. This person is free and clear, and you're dating someone that is completely available. And it's just about the right time. It's just about sorting out the details. It's about quantifying, making sure that this person is the right person and we're suitable and compatible and all the things. But once you've checked off all the boxes, then we set a date or we work towards a date. We have a general date that we're working towards, and then we need to get serious. So it really depends on the circumstances. But I say if it's a normal circumstance and these are functioning adults where you are working and you're already done with school and it's just two grown-ups that are ready to settle down, then I say 1 to 2 years is more than appropriate in terms of a time for a relationship to decide on a commitment and or marriage. Because again, when you're getting into a relationship, you have to know exactly what the goal is for one another. You have to know what your goals and standards are. And then you need to get acquainted with the person that you're dating, what their goals and standards are. Once you discover that you're on the same page, what the page is, we want to be married, then cool. Then the next question is, are you my purpose partner? Okay. Once we decipher whether that person is or not, let's say they are. Okay, cool. Then another box is checked. Then we need to dig a little bit deeper. We need to find out more about the person. We need to find out about finances. We need to find out about health. We need to find out about gender roles and all the things that are important in order to maintain a happy, healthy relationship. And we're also getting to know their likes, their dislikes, and all the things when it comes to commitment building. All the data that you should be collecting and all the things that you should be experiencing that will create a bond with you and the other. And then it should be, again, a segue into some type of engagement. And then once that happens, then you need to set an actual time frame by which the engagement period will be complete and you are ready for what we call marriage, the actual date that you will be married. But again, some people focus around about the time of engagement more on the marriage the actual wedding and the ceremony, than the relationship after I do. I like to tell people that you need to focus on both. You don't need to have too much time and spend too much time on a day of celebration and a day of making the commitment than the planning of a life together. I think you should be able to do both. As a matter of fact, if you're serious about commitment and your goal is to be married, there are some things that you can be working on way before someone comes into your life. If that is a life goal for you, you don't have to wait to even be in a dating situation to begin to plan. What do you mean? What do I mean by that? That's the question, right? Your credit. You need a decent credit. You need a decent credit score. You need credit. So if you haven't established credit, you need to establish credit. If you already have pre-established credit and maybe you don't have the best credit score in the world, then you need to increase your credit score, pay off your debt, deal with the money management, save some money. All right. If you're not good at it, then you can get counsel when it comes to money, and you can actually um, get literacy when it comes to financial literacy. You can obtain some type of literacy. You can read a book. You can actually go to a financier at your bank, and you can be educated on how to go about doing certain things. So again, when you know that this is your goal, you have to work with the goal in mind. Saving money, working on your credit, working on your mental health. You know, um, how are you when it comes to stress? Generally, when people come into your life, they not only manage your stress, but they're also having to manage someone else's stress. So if you're having a difficult time managing what's in your world as a solo person, as a solo gig, then guess what? When you add other people, when you add a wife or husband and you add children, it becomes even more complicated, and even more to handle. It becomes difficult to handle. So you have to know that about yourself. So if your mental health is up and down and you suffer from depression, or maybe there's certain things within your family that you know that you wrestle with, or things that have come up over the years, then you need to deal with that. Preparing yourself for, again, I desire to be married one day, I desire to be in partnership, and etc. I desire to be a companion to someone else. Then I want to make sure that I'm healed. I want to make sure that I'm whole, or at least I'm going to be working on it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start going to a counselor. I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to do with everything in my power for my personal development so that I can be a best version of myself for my future. All right. So that's important. Same as your emotional state, same as your spiritual, making sure that if faith is important to you, you are making sure that you're developing a relationship with God. You're making sure that that relationship with God is secure, that you have a prayer life, that you read the Bible, that you go to church, or at least go into fellowship spaces where you're in fellowship and you're allowing someone, you're submitted to somebody. That's also important. That you have a leader that you're submitted to, so that you can receive guidance and instruction and correction if need be. And so all those things are important. You know what I mean? In order for us to be a well-rounded person, as well as the physical, we're making sure that we're healthy physically, we're taking care of ourselves. Whatever things that we may have in our bloodline when it comes to our health. If we know that, maybe we have sickle cell, the trait, when we're dating, then we need to be mindful that if I decide to marry someone that has the trait, there's a potential that our child may have the disease. You know what I mean? So again, you're dating with the goal in mind. So that means that when I'm dating, I really have to ask those kind of questions. Though it may sound a little intrusive, but I don't want to get close emotionally tied to someone that I know that ultimately we may have some issues having a child that has sickle cell. There's a few people that either live with it, and or I've heard stories of families having to go in and out of the hospital with their child. Do you really want that for yourself? Especially if that person, they may not even be a person. Maybe that's somebody you just chose, right? Because I really do believe that every gift from God is good and is perfect. So I don't believe it. He said, "In the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow." So I don't believe that somebody's going to be a gift to me and then we're having children and we're constantly in and out of the hospital. To me, that is sorrow. That's sorrowful. Why would I sign up for that? Why would God make me sign up for that? I think a lot of times we enter into these relationships and we don't do our due diligence when it comes to the biological part, when it comes to health. What's what do you have in your family? What's in your bloodline? Mental health, all right? Emotional health, all those things, spiritual. Where are you? Where you come? What do you believe? You believe in source. Or what do you mean by that? Who do you worship? Those things need to be clear because again, you are coming together and the Bible says, how can two walk together unless they be in agreement? So you're trying to figure that out way before the dating phase. But if you're just leaping and you're not looking and you're not doing your due diligence and asking all the right questions and gathering the right data, then you're bound to make a poor decision. So even if you're in engagement for 10 to 15 years, you may never follow through to marriage because you weren't a good fit from the beginning. And maybe that person fully realized that. But instead of getting out of that relationship, they just kind of just been delaying the breakup. Some people get cold feet and they never get to that point. You probably would have to break up with them before they break up with you, and or they'll make you break up with them because they'll do something intentionally because they're a coward. So how long is it too long for an engagement? 2 to 3 years is sufficient depending on the goals of the couple. 2 to 3 years, 1 to 2 to 3. I would say three to max, and that really depends on the goals of the couple. If there are fully adults and they're working and they got their stuff together, 2 to 3 years, it can even be less than a year, depending on the age and the stage that the people are at, the couples are at in their growth and in their development. So you can be maybe in your upper 40s or 50s and get married in 6 months. There are stories I've heard people getting married in a month, getting married in 3 months. And so it really depends on the age and the stage that a person is in their life and their partner. They may be on this exact same page when it comes to their growth and development, financial, everything. They're just perfect for each other. So no, you don't have to delay. If you've done your due diligence, I highly recommend for all couples, I don't care how old you are, in order to sort out, all the data, it's just best to have a really good premarital counseling session. I know I offer them for my clients because we do an analysis, which to me is helpful because it will allow couples to actually see their strengths and areas that need growth in the relationship. It'll also outline what things you do have in common and what things you don't have in common. I think that that's also important, whether that's going to be a confirmation, and it should with data to confirm whether that person is suitable or not. Just simply by you asking or answering a series of questions and coming out with a data analyst of the answers and then comparing the two responses to see exactly where you are on a graph. It'll tell the story, and I've done this and it's a beautiful story. It'll either share with you and through the answers that this is not a good idea, and or it will confirm that it's the best thing that you could have ever done. And so I do offer that to my clients. So you can always go to my website, which is impactingmindsetsglobal.com. Go check out the services that we do provide. I do dating coaching as well as counseling, premarital counseling and postmarital counseling, mental health counseling, and alike. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much all that I got. I don't want to hold you. Really great question. How long is too long for an engagement or non-committed relationship? I think 2 to 3 years, depending on the circumstance, is a bit much. I feel like a lot of the things can be done in a shorter amount of time, especially when you're working with the goal in mind. If a person is living haphazardly, then that's why you have those types of situations. And or when you have a live-in situation, to me, I just think that that's not wise simply because people just get comfortable. And that's why you will find yourself in a 9-year relationship and no commitment. And if you've built that kind of life with each other, there might be common law. That's the thing. If you're in a state where they recognize common law in relationships, you've lived with each other. I forgot exactly what I think 10, what, 10, 9, 8, 7 years together by the law. There's this common law that comes into effect where you will be considered married. If that be the case, if the law can tell you that it's a certain period of time that people are together, that the state will consider you married, then that's really telling a story. Then if the state can say, hey, y'all been dating for too long, then we're just going to just assume you're married by year 7. You know what I'm saying? If the state can tell you that, then you can just go ahead and get married, because you know what I mean? Does that make sense? If the state says, "Hey, I'm going to quantify this relationship. You've been together for 7 years. We're going to in the books, within our books legally, you are technically married." Then you might as well just go ahead and get married. And if you have to work through whatever issues you need to work through to get to that point, then by all means sign up for a free consultation and I'll be happy to assist you. But there's nothing to be afraid of. It's all good. It's all God. So thank you so much for tuning in to What's Up, Doc? Ask Dr. Kesha your relationship questions. I'm here to serve. All right. So you'll catch us on Sundays. Just click that notification bell so that you're able to catch me when I do come on live on Sundays. Feel free to leave a comment. If you happen to have a relationship question, just go ahead and ask. Don't be shy. Feel free to make a comment, share if you feel inclined, and subscribe to the channel, and also click that notification bell. We appreciate you for taking time, stopping by, watching the broadcast, and you can find us the next time, because we do several things on this channel. We do prayer. You can catch us on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch us for that. Let's go ahead and just get all these ads out of the way. Okay, you can catch us for prayer on Wednesdays. All right, you can catch us on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What else we got? Then also you can catch us for prayer at 6 a.m. on Saturdays for prayer. All right. And then, of course, we do have, this is our weekly broadcast. And then we have the What's Up, Doc? Ask Dr. Kesha on Sundays live. You can catch me on the Dr. Kesha page, as well as the Impacting Mindsets Global page, channel rather, on YouTube. You catch me as well. And then you can check out some of the videos in the archives, especially if you're watching from the Dr. Kesha page. You can check out the live on Pop Culture News, where we talked about the Super Bowl 59 and Kendrick Lamar and the culture and the conflict, and some of the other videos pertaining to pop culture news. You can check that out, as well as Kendrick has been hot on our channel, but the new music and what all that means. Let's see what another video that we did. Oh, we talked about the Miro and how they did some nasty things. Also, the Super Bowl announcement, we talked about that. We talked about Agenda 2030. All right, 2025. We talked about the agenda. We do our Braxton's reviews. Also, you can check out the Braxton reviews that we do. It's right there. As a matter of fact, we just did an upload to a video for the Braxton reviews. You can check that out. I don't know if we just did the last one. This is episode 7 we're up to, but you can catch 1 through 7 there in the archives. We talked about reparations. All right. We talked about reparations. That's one of the things that we did on the show. And then we also did Get Right Church. Okay. What's going on? We did the conversation about the church. We did a review, okay, on Forever featuring Tay Diggs and Megan Good. That was actually a pretty good movie on Lifetime. Pretty good, pretty good. We also did something, what does Celestial say? Okay, commentary on the so-called prophecy about the Williams sisters. So much more. We did another one on who's running in 2024. That was part 2. This is part 1. Go check it out, where we highlighted all the candidates that are running for the president of the United States. Now there are other candidates, but these were the, I want to say, the main ones that was able to at least capture some attention, some national attention. Go check it out. All right, go check it out. Also on, I believe this is on the Spreading Truth Ministry channel, where we review the testimony of an ex-witch and a pagan. Go check that out on the Spreading Truth Ministry channel. Go check that out. All right, we also did, this is some of the things that we've been doing. Yet another hashtag. We talked about Sonia Massey, right? And so you want to go check that out by that nasty, nasty, mean and evil cop that yeah, basically took the young lady's life, unfortunately, and so much more, and so much more. So go check out the archives again, please. And at your leisure, go check it out. Make sure that you like those videos and feel free to leave a comment. I do read comments and I also reply to them. And I want to thank you in advance for all the subscribers, the new subscribers who joined the channel. We appreciate you, and the community that we are establishing. We're having a good time doing this, and we're doing more and more and more as we go and grow. And I'm excited. All right, totally excited. For those that may not know, my name is Dr. Kesha, and yeah, this is Dr. Kesha Show. And you are so welcome. Amen. You are so welcome. Those that are saying thank you, I'm saying you're welcome. Because we do a lot. We try to make a difference. And that's all that we do. All right. So you all take care. Until next time, peace and blessings and love. Gotta go. Bye.